Hey y'all, how you doing out there? Yes, I'm back again with another video on domestic violence against women and recognizing the patterns, so hopefully you'll seek help. Now, domestic violence is a serious threat for many women. Know the signs of an abusive relationship and how to leave a dangerous situation. Now, this is some information by the staff at the Mayo Clinic, okay? Your partner apologizes and says the hurtful behavior won't happen again. But you fear it will. And at times you wonder whether you're imagining the abuse. Yet the emotional or physical pain you feel is real. If this sounds familiar, you might be experiencing domestic violence. Now, recognizing domestic violence is also called intimate partner violence. It occurs between people in an intimate relationship. Domestic violence can take many forms, including emotional, sexual, and physical abuse, and threats of abuse. Domestic violence can happen in heterosexual or same-sex relationships. Abusive relationships always involve an imbalance of power and control. An abuser uses intimidating, hurtful words and behaviors to control his or her partner. It might not be easy to identify domestic violence at first, while some relationships are clearly abusive from the outset. Abuse often starts subtly and gets worse over time. You might be experiencing domestic violence if you're in a relationship with someone who calls you names, insults you or puts you down, prevents or discourages you from going to work or school or seeing family members or friends, tries to control how you spend money, where you go, what medicines you take, or what you wear. Acts jealous or possessive, or constantly accuses you of being unfaithful. Gets angry when drinking alcohol or using drugs. Tries to control whether you can see a health care provider. Threatens you with violence or a weapon. Hits, kicks, shoves, slaps, chokes, or otherwise hurts you, your children, or your pets. Forces you to have sex or engage in sexual acts against your will. Blames you for his or her violent behavior or tells you that you deserve it. Wow. Threatens to tell friends, family, colleagues, or community members of sexual orientation or gender identity. If you are lesbian, bisexual, or transgender, you might also be experiencing domestic violence if you're in a relationship with someone who tells you that authorities won't help a lesbian, bisexual, or transgender person. Tells you that leaving the relationship means you're admitting that lesbian, bisexual, or transgender relationships are deviant. Say women can't be violent. Justifies abuse by telling you that you're not really lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. Don't take the blame. You may not be ready to seek help because you believe you're at least partially to blame for the abuse in the relationship. Reasons may include your partner blames you for the violence in your relationship. Abusive partners rarely take responsibility for their actions. Trust. Your partner only exhibits abusive behavior with you. Abusers are often concerned with outward appearances and may appear charming and stable to those outside of the relationship. Now, this may cause you to believe that his or her actions can only be explained by something that you've done. Therapists and doctors who see you alone or with your partner haven't detected a problem. If you haven't told your doctor or other health care providers about the abuse, they may only take note of unhealthy patterns in your thinking or behavior, which can lead to a misdiagnosis. Now, for example, survivors of intimate partner violence may develop symptoms that resemble personality disorders. Exposure to intimate partner violence also increases your risk of mental health conditions. Traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. If healthcare providers focus on your symptoms, this may worsen your fear that you are responsible for the abuse in your relationship. You have acted out verbally or physically against your abuser, yelling, pushing, or hitting him or her during conflict. You may worry that you are abusive, but it's much more likely that you acted out in self-defense or intense emotional distress. Your abuser may use such incidents to manipulate you, describing them as proof that you are the abusive partner. You're having trouble identifying what's happening. Take a step back and look at larger patterns in your relationship. Then review the signs of domestic violence. In an abusive relationship, the person who routinely uses these behaviors is the abuser. The person on the receiving end is being abused. Pregnancy, children, and abuse. Sometimes domestic violence begins or increases during pregnancy, putting their health and the baby's health at risk. The danger continues after the baby is born. Even if your child isn't abused, simply witnessing domestic violence can be harmful. Children who grew up in an abusive home are more likely to be abused and have behavioral problems than are other children. As adults, they're more likely to become abusers or think abuse is a normal part of relationships. You might worry that telling the truth will further endanger you, the child, or other family members, and that it may break up your family. But seeking help is the best way to protect your children and yourself. So break the cycle. If you're in an abusive situation, you might recognize this pattern. Your abuser threatens violence. Your abuser strikes. Your abuser apologizes and promises to change and offers gifts. And this cycle only repeats itself. Typically, the violence becomes more frequent and severe over time. The longer you stay in an abusive relationship, the greater the physical and emotional toll. You might become depressed and anxious, or begin to doubt your ability to take care of yourself, and you might feel helpless or paralyzed. The unique challenges: if you're an immigrant, you may be hesitant to seek help out of fear that you will be deported. Language barriers, lack of economic dependence, and limited social support can increase your isolation and your ability to access resources. Laws in the United States guarantee protection from abuse, from domestic abuse, regardless of your immigrant status. Free or low-cost resources are available, including lawyers, shelters, and medical care for you and your children. You may also be eligible for legal protections that allow immigrants who experience domestic violence to stay in the United States. Call a National Domestic Violence Hotline for guidance. These services are free and they protect your privacy. If you're an older woman, you may face challenges related to your age and the length of your relationship. You may have grown up in a time when domestic violence was simply not discussed. You or your partner may have health problems that increase your dependence or sense of responsibility. Okay, so if you're in a same-sex relationship, you might be less likely to seek help after an assault if you don't want to disclose your sexual orientation, or if you've been sexually assaulted by another woman, you may also fear that you won't be believed. So the only way to break the cycle of domestic violence is to take action. Start by telling someone about the abuse, whether it's a friend, loved one, healthcare provider, or other close contact. You can also call a National Domestic Violence Hotline. At first, you might find it hard to talk about the abuse, but understand that you are not alone and there are people who can help you. You're also likely to feel relief and receive much-needed support. Trust me well. Create a safety plan. Leaving an abuser can be dangerous, so consider taking these precautions. Call a woman's shelter or a domestic violence hotline for advice. Make the call at a safe time when the abuser isn't around, or from a friend's house or other safe location. Pack an emergency bag that includes items you'll need when you leave, such as extra clothes and keys. Leave the bag in a safe place and keep important personal papers, money, and prescription medications handy so that you can take them with you on short notice. Know exactly where you'll go and how you'll get there. Also, protect your communication and your location. An abuser can use technology to monitor your telephone and online communication and to track your location. If you're concerned for your safety, seek help to maintain your privacy. Use phones cautiously. Your abuser might intercept calls and listen to your conversation. He or she might use caller ID, check your cell phone, or search your phone billing records to see your call and texting history. Use your home computer cautiously. Your abuser might use spyware to monitor your emails and the websites you visit. So consider using a computer at work, the library, or at a friend's house to seek help. Remove GPS devices from your vehicle because your abuser might use a GPS device to pinpoint your location. Frequently change your email password. Choose passwords that would be impossible for your abuser to guess. But he's such an investigator. He's such a detective. Wow. Clear your viewing history. Follow your browser's instructions to clear any record of websites or graphics that you use. When to seek help. In an emergency, call 911 or your local number, or your local emergency number, or law enforcement agency. The following resources can also help. Someone you trust. Turn to a friend, loved one, neighbor, or co-worker, or religious or spiritual advisor for support. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline, which is 800-799-SAFE. 800-799-7233. Call the hotline for crisis intervention and referrals to resources such as women's shelters. Your health care provider. Doctors and nurses will treat injuries and can refer you to safe housing and other local resources. A local women's shelter or crisis center. Shelters and crisis centers typically provide 24-hour emergency shelter, as well as advice on legal matters and advocacy and support services. A counseling or mental health center, counseling and support groups for women in abusive relationships are available in most communities. A local court. Your district court can help you obtain a restraining order that legally mandates the abuser to stay away from you or face arrest. Local advocates might be available to help guide you through the process. Okay, and once again, I'll repeat that if you have to go as far as getting a restraining order, first of all, make sure that this person really did not abuse you. You don't want you to play with the system just because you're tired of this person and you want to move on to someone else, so you make up something that you were physically abused or what have you, because this does happen in some cases. Don't play with the system, because it may be a time that you really need this help, and then they'll just say, oh, she's always calling us to try to get this person out, and then she's letting them come back because the other relationship didn't work, so she's making up all these allegations. So make sure that you are for real, and if you really have to get a protection order. A protection order is just a piece of paper, as I said before in one of my other videos. You have to make this piece of paper work for you. You can't get this protection order for the abuser to stay away, and then you're calling him every night, saying you're sorry and giving sweet words back and forth and all this, and then you make up, and then he abuses you again. It's not going to stop. So if you get this protection order, make sure that you mean business. Don't get it and then make up with this person. Because sometimes it doesn't turn out so well. Some abusers don't care about protection orders. They want you to let them back and open up. So they're going to do whatever they're going to do, because they're not going to stop unless they seek counseling. So don't waste the time of the courts if you don't want to get out of this relationship. And all this getting protection order, also seek counseling. Attend a support group. So hopefully all this will make you stronger, so you understand what's going on. You'll understand the signs of abuse. And hopefully you can move on. So as I said, it can be hard to recognize or admit that you're in an abusive relationship. But help is available. Remember that no one deserves to be abused. So until the next video, I just want to say for you to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll be notified of another video. Please comment down in the comment box and let me know what you think of this video. And in the meantime, just stay out the way, stay covered up, 6 feet apart. Do what you gotta do and get back in. And that way you'll always be here to be my friend. So, with that being said, I'd just like to say like, share, and I think I already said it, but I'll say it again. Like, share, subscribe, hit that bell so that you may be notified of another video. And as Walt says, share. And don't forget, go over there and visit Grandma Karma at Grandma Karma Homestead. Until the next time, love, peace, and happiness.